Hello there, I'm Black Bright News, and I wanted to tell you a little bit. Well, this is really for, I guess, non English speaking tradesmen or tradesmen who have limited English and who have signed up with places like Checkatrade or Mybuilder. Because I had a young guy, I don't know, he looked really young, but he's probably in his late 20s, early 30s. And he was painting and he started talking to me about Checkatrade. And he said, "Oh, I am getting invoices for £600. And when I signed up, it was £195." And I said, "But that's ridiculous." And he said, "I don't know, I don't understand." I think he's from Albania. "I don't understand," he said. "I was paying 195. One time I paid 350. I didn't mind 350, but 600 I can't afford." And then he said, he's cancelled the direct debit. And I said to him, "You can't cancel the direct debit because they can still chase you for the money or whatever you signed up for." I said, "What did you sign up for?" He says, "I don't know. I just completed online form." And so what it did, it made me kind of, number one, he was talking about when they send him customers. And sometimes they send him customers and he doesn't get the job, but they'll still charge him. And it's called leads. So I was saying to him, well, you need to understand what you're signing up for. You probably best to get an Albanian interpreter and tell Checkatrade that you didn't understand what you're signing up for. And he was going, "Oh, I don't know." He says bailiffs and I felt so sorry for him. Anyway, it made me look into what exactly he might have signed up for. And that's why I'm doing this video, because it's easy to sign up online, but if English is not your first language, if you don't understand the small print, if you haven't got anybody to ask, and if you just think it's a place where you can just sign up and you pay £195 a month, which he felt was reasonable if he got jobs, then I can understand his concern when he starts getting billed for 600, and I'm going to explain why that happens. Although it was difficult to explain it to him, I told him to go to Citizens Advice Bureau or something. But I've written down some notes. So this is really for non-English speaking tradesmen who live in England. That's the funny thing. He's been here for 16 years. His English still wasn't very good, but I was able to understand him, of course, and to kind of help him out and draft a letter for him. To help them, so at least he can get some form of support. Because if Checkatrade believes that they're dealing with people who understand what they're signing up for, then, they can't be to blame. But anyway, let me tell you how it works. There can be, sometimes the advert may sound like only £195 a month, but what many tradespeople do not realise is that this may not be the total monthly cost. There can be lead fees, extra charges, postcode charges and VAT, and additional marketing costs. Now, I can imagine if you're signing up for jobs, you're going to put all the postcodes in because you want, not that you want to go travel far, but you want to get as much exposure as possible. But this means a 195 package can suddenly become 400, 500 or even 600 a month. Sometimes it's even 750. And sometimes you're charged just for receiving inquiries, even if the customer never replies, chooses someone else, and the job does not go ahead. And it made me feel so bad because I've been using Checkatrade, I've been using Mybuilder, and I put a job on and then I take it off as soon as I've found somebody or if I find the quotes are too high. Now, I didn't realise that by signing on to Checkatrade, or I don't know how My Builder works a bit differently. They work depending on how, if you've been shortlisted. So theirs isn't so bad. Well, I don't know if bad is the right word, but theirs is a bit less convoluted. But so what I've been doing is I've been going on Checkatrade and Mybuilder, and I've just been putting in the jobs I want. And I didn't realise that every time those jobs go out to these tradespeople, whether or not they get the job or not, they are charged and they have to pay a fee, sometimes £50, sometimes £35. I, and I think that is so unfortunate if the tradesperson doesn't realise that's what's happening. So it made me think, what do I do? How do you help tradesmen from not being charged leads if you're not going to use them? I think the only thing you can do is to make sure that you know exactly what you want, and as soon as you've got somebody, take it down. Don't leave it up there so that more leads can be sent out to other people. Because they used to say to me, well, not they say, but on the website it says, oh, you can choose up to 10 tradesperson. I never choose up to 10. I choose 2 or 3 that live close to me. And I'm glad I didn't choose 10, because if I choose 10, all those leads go out to those different people. They're being charged. Oh, and I was wondering why they were responding so quick. They're responding so quick because they're desperate for the jobs. So what else have I got here? Sometimes you're charged just for receiving inquiries, even if the customer never replies. I said that. Before signing anything, and this is for the tradesperson, ask for a total possible monthly cost. Ask if there are charges per lead. Ask if there is a contract period, and ask how cancellation works, and ask for everything in writing. If English is not your first language, do not feel embarrassed to ask somebody you trust to read the contract with you before signing. A 5-minute conversation today can save months of stress later. And never feel pressured during a sales call. Take your time, read everything carefully, ask questions, because many hard-working tradespersons are excellent at their trade, but contracts and sales language can be confusing for anyone. So protect yourself first. So that was what I wanted to say. I just thought, a lot of us, we just do things as customers, not realizing the implications. And I definitely didn't realize. And when I saw how distressed he was, because I knew there was something wrong, and I said to him, what is up? He said, oh, invoice £600 a month. I can't afford £600 a month. Where? How? Where? I'm not even getting job. They keep sending me job and I don't get the customers. I don't get the job. And I'm thinking to myself, that sounds like me, in the sense that I sent, I think, 3, because I don't know that they're called leads, but I send out 3 requests for 3 different customers, and then they get charged. And then I was wondering why they said, did you hire this person? Because that's what it says on the thing. Did you hire this person? Give them a review. And how much did you charge? And I thought to myself, that sounds a bit dubious. That sounds like maybe they are keeping tabs on, and they said, oh, it's just between me and you kind of thing. But it made me feel as though maybe they're catching tabs. But all of this is to say, Checkatrade are doing a job, but you as a tradesperson have to make sure you know what you're signing up for. You're not just signing up to put your name out there to get a job. You're being charged for postcode areas. So if you've got more postcode areas, you're going to be charged for that, for leads and everything I mentioned before. So you have to really be careful when you sign up for these companies, because they're very, very useful. But if you don't understand what you're signing up for, it's going to be a problem. So get help anytime you need need it. Okay, that's all I've got to say for now. Bye bye.